You've probably heard the bar exam is difficult. You know it probably takes a lot of hours to study, it takes a lot of work, but how much work, how many hours of studying are actually required to pass the bar exam? In this video, I'm going to be telling you just precisely how much you need to study to pass the bar exam and how much you can expect to do so after you've graduated law school and need to start doing that process. Be sure to subscribe to this channel for more of these videos. Be sure to check us out at barcastaudio.com, and let's jump right into it. So how much studying do you actually have to do to pass the bar? The answer is predictably complicated. Most bar exam courses account for you studying anywhere from 8 to 10 weeks. Now, those 8 to 10 weeks generally account for approximately 40 to 50 hours of studying per week. So if you do the math, on average, you can expect that bar prep is going to require somewhere between 350 and 500 hours of study. Now, I would say 500 hours of studying is generally going to be an outlier. Most students expect somewhere to be in that 350 to 450 hour range. Now, the reality of bar prep is that not all hours are going to be created equally. For many students on the higher end of these required hours, those increased number of hours are going to be required to fill in periods of what I would call non-concentrated study. I've done videos here, and I'll continue to do videos on study blocks where students sort of focus for periods of concentrated study throughout the day. But too often, students are losing time. They think they're studying effectively. Maybe they're saying, I've been in the library for 14 hours. But how many of those hours are actually hours of concentrated study? They're probably often very distracted, that they're not doing things the right way to really make the most of their time. That's when you start to see these hours creep up into the absurd, extraordinary area. Often students struggle to really prepare themselves for the rigors of bar prep in the early stages. The result is that students continue to do this sort of distracted study early on, and they have to make up for their time early on as they get deeper into bar prep, where they feel like I wasn't really learning the material in a way that stuck early on, so I have to make up for it as we get deeper into bar prep. That's again when we see these study hours climb. As the bar exam draws closer, students move into a more concentrated area of study. For the most part, the early parts of bar prep are going to be focused on generally taking in the information, taking in all the subjects. But as you get deeper, you start to realize what your areas of weakness and strength are. And that's when we start to see students focus more on those areas of weakness, where let's say students are extremely strong in property, but they're no good at evidence and con law. They start focusing more on those, and you're going to see more study time sort of devoted to those specific areas, and also on sort of focusing on not forgetting the areas that they were good in. So it's kind of a complicated shell game of trying to stay on top of both the areas that you're good in for a period of time and the areas that you're not so good in, which creates this ever-escalating study schedule. Maybe you're wondering how you can ensure that you're studying somewhere closer to that 350 or 400 hour mark. The answer is very simply, make sure that when you're studying, you're actually studying. I've done videos on this before, and I'll continue to do videos on the idea of these study blocks. Too often, students are kind of going through the motions when they sit down to study. They're not studying efficiently. They go to the library, they sit at their desk, they're there for hours upon hours, and they talk later about how they've spent so many hours studying. But how much of it was really concentrated? Students may be claiming to be studying for 14 hours, but more often than not, they're getting less than half that in concentrated study time. They're on their phones, scrolling, half-heartedly listening to lectures of their bar exam course. But to avoid this, you need to use something like the study block method I mentioned before. And in the study block method, you're really going to focus for concentrated study, phone off, distraction-free, for an extended period of time, 30 to 45 minutes, or even longer if you can stretch it out that long. Set a timer, whether it's an egg timer, whether it's your phone in airplane mode, do whatever you have to do to really ensure that you're locked in for that period. And that's really the best way to ensure that as you get deeper into bar prep, you're confident that you've been studying the right way. You've been actually devoting concentrated periods of study throughout the early days and as we get deeper into bar prep. So you don't feel like you wasted a lot of time just kind of half-heartedly, half studying throughout the early days. If you start to get the study block system down, I recommend that maybe you try to shut off your phone and really lock in from the time you get to your desk till approximately lunchtime. Take a lunch, take a long lunch, really lock in, or unplug, I shouldn't say lock in, unplug and really try to maybe talk to your fellow classmates, watch your television show to unwind, and then come back and again in the afternoon session try to do one of these longer study sessions. If you do this, you can feel confident. You will not feel guilty about leaving, maybe to go to the gym, to work out, to stay on top of your health, to stay on top of your mental health, not completely burn out as we get deeper into bar prep. If you take steps to do this, you can ensure that when you are preparing for the bar exam, you won't have to be closer to that 500-hour mark as opposed to that 350 to 450-hour mark. So now you know how much studying is required for taking the bar exam. If you are someone who is looking to take the bar exam next year or in the coming years, check us out at barcastaudio.com. We have everything you could possibly need to pass the bar exam. Also subscribe to the channel for more of these videos. Until later, I will talk to you guys soon. Bye now.